My mother-in-law repeatedly commented on my weight after I had my twins, even going so far as to give me a scale as a birthday gift just 3 weeks after I gave birth. I eventually reached my breaking point, told her off, and kicked her out of my party. Now, my husband insists that I should apologize to his elderly mother because she was supposedly just concerned about my health. Recently, I gave birth to twins, and naturally, that has led to some weight gain. I've spoken to professionals, and they have assured me that this is completely natural and normal after a pregnancy, especially after having twins. Soon enough, with a proper diet and regular exercise, I'll be able to return to my original size. To be honest, I'm not even very concerned about that since I used to be really thin earlier, and I think putting on a bit of weight has been good for me. Besides, right now, my primary goal is to be a good mother to my children, no matter what weight I'm at. But I don't think my mother-in-law agrees with this, as she has made it very clear that she doesn't want me at this size. Agnes, my mother-in-law, used to be a model, so she's very conscious about her appearance. I find it wonderful that even at her age, she always takes great care of herself. However, expecting the same of me, especially after I've given birth to twins, is a bit unrealistic. Man, I've been so stressed out lately. You know how it is when family drama just piles up? So, get this, for the past couple of weeks, she's been on my case about losing weight. Like, seriously? As if I didn't have enough on my plate already. And don't even get me started on my in-laws. They've been popping in every other day like they own the place. My mother-in-law? She might as well move in at this point. I swear, it feels like she set up camp in our living room. It's been absolute chaos. For 3 whole weeks, I've been playing host nonstop. No breathing room, no me time, just a constant parade of guests. I'm talking all day, every day. It's driving me up the wall. I try to be polite about it, but my husband felt that it was normal for his family to want to come over all the time since they loved him and were excited about him becoming a father. While I could understand that his family was excited, I felt it shouldn't be the norm to keep visiting a woman who has just given birth. I'm honestly just exhausted right now. I was already pretty annoyed that Agnes was visiting every day, and instead of helping me out, she would expect me to do everything around the house while she thought she was doing me a favor by looking after the kids. I found this unfair because, as their mother, I should be the one caring for my babies. If she really wanted to help, she should have taken care of the other chores and let me focus on my children. That was bad enough, and on top of that, she just kept taking potshots at me about my weight. The rest of my husband's family found it funny, but I did not, and neither did my parents, who told me that I had to stand up to these people and make sure they didn't behave this way with me. The problem is that by nature, I'm a very non-confrontational person, and I find it difficult to talk about what's bothering me. However, after my parents visited, I decided to tell my husband that I was not okay with his mother making an issue of my weight so publicly, nor was I okay with her or his family visiting us every day. This led to an argument since he believed I was being unreasonable. He pointed out that I'm not very close to my family, which is why they didn't visit often, and while that was somewhat true, another reason they didn't visit often was that I had been clear about needing some time alone with the babies before I was ready to entertain guests. I tried to explain to him that these frequent visits from his family were making me irritable and exhausted, but he turned it around on me, making it seem like I was being selfish. Not wanting to keep fighting and arguing, I let it go and dropped the argument, even though I shouldn't have, because I guess that's what led to the incident that took place a couple of days ago. On my birthday, I had specifically told my husband that I did not want a birthday party. I just wanted to spend the day alone with him and the kids, and I thought that since it was my birthday, he would respect that. Unfortunately, that's not how things played out. I spent the morning at my parents' place since they had invited me for a birthday lunch, which is a ritual we follow every year. So, here's the kicker, my husband usually tags along with me for this stuff, right? But this year, he pulls the "I'm not feeling great" card and decides to stay home. Whatever, I figured I'd just power through solo. Fast forward to me finally dragging myself back home, exhausted and ready to crash. And what do I walk into? A freaking surprise party. My dear husband had gone and invited his whole family, yeah, the same ones I've been trying to avoid, plus a bunch of our friends. Talk about bad timing. I mean, seriously? This was the last thing I needed. But what could I do? They were all there, grinning and expecting me to be thrilled. So, I slapped on my best fake smile and pretended I had the energy to deal with all of it. You know that feeling when you just want to scream but instead you're like, oh wow, what a surprise. That was me, putting on the performance of a lifetime. I was really tired and just wanted to nap, but after I had cut the cake, Agnes told me it was time to unwrap the presents. Even though I told her I wanted to rest, she insisted that I do it and open hers first. I was too tired to put up a fight, so I did what she asked just to get it over with. I completely flipped out when I unwrapped her present and realized that she had given me a weighing machine. For the past couple of weeks, ever since I had given birth, I had found my husband and his family increasingly more annoying to deal with, but this was the last straw for me. Agnes had been the worst of all, constantly bringing up how much weight I had put on and how I needed to lose it quickly, and this finally tipped me over the edge. I started freaking out at her and really gave her a piece of my mind. I had stayed quiet for long enough, but once I started yelling, I couldn't stop. I let it all out, telling her that she had no business talking about my body, especially after I had given birth to the grandchildren she constantly came over to see without even bothering to ask if I was okay with it. I then yelled at her about how she had become a nuisance, never helping me out when she visited, and expecting me to do all the menial tasks while she got to play with the kids I had carried for 9 months. I said a lot of other things before finally asking her to get out of my house and kicking her out of the party. I also told my husband's family that after this party, I didn't want them visiting until I had specifically invited them. I was absolutely furious and didn't care in the slightest about what they thought of me. I just wanted them all to leave me alone with my babies. After yelling at them, I didn't even bother speaking to my husband and just went to the bedroom with the babies and went to sleep. I woke up a few times during the night, but my husband was nowhere to be found. I was kind of worried but also really upset, so I didn't call him. It wasn't until the next morning that I finally saw him again. When I asked where he had been, he told me he had spent the night at a friend's place because, after my outburst, he didn't feel like staying with me. He seemed upset, and I felt a little bad about my behavior since I had really insulted him and his family the night before, but I had been pushed to the edge, so I couldn't say it was entirely my fault. Anyway, I thought we could discuss it and talk things out, but instead, he told me that his mother was really upset about everything. The worst part was that now both he and Agnes expected me to apologize to her for my behavior because she was an elderly woman who had never been humiliated like that before. They also felt like I had overreacted since she was only trying to look out for my health. Here's the thing about Agnes, she's just 54, which doesn't count as elderly in my book. She has always been very weird about people's appearances, very judgmental, and snarky. In fact, sometimes I feel like the only reason she was so nice to me before I got pregnant was that I fit her idea of what an attractive woman should look like. Like I said, I was naturally skinny, and she had complimented me on that several times.